Good afternoon and warm welcome to today's presentation, which is Substation Saturdays 3 episode 2. The topic of discussion today is the contact resistance measurement of the EHV substation. So let's see today's agenda. First we will have the introduction, then we will have an overview of the circuit breaker contacts, which is very basic. Then we will have the CRM, concept of the CRM, what is contact resistance measurement. Next, we will have the application of the contact resistance measurement, where you can use this particular measurement, where you can do this measurement, and also where you can use our contact resistance measurement kit. Next, we'll be having the importance of the contact resistance measurement, as well as the importance of the instrument of the contact resistance measurement. That means the importance of our instrument. Then substantially we will go to the contact resistance measurement series models that we are having. So briefly we will discuss what are the models and what are the application of the models, and obviously by seeing the models and the specifications, you can understand what will be the best model suitable for you. And then we will briefly discuss about the test procedure, and after the test procedure we will be having a discussion of the limits of the values of the CRM, and then we will have the final question and answer session. So this is the today's agenda. So before just starting the presentation, let me have a introduction first. Myself, Aritro, I'm working here in Scope as a product specialist and looking after the different segments of products, starting from the circuit breaker, GIS, surge arrestor, and the battery related all the products. Today I'll be assisted by Mr. Nilay Ray sir, who is the lead product specialist. So as I have said that we will briefly discuss the look at the contact assembly. Now this was I have already explained in while I was presenting the DCRM concept. Now in the DCRM concept it was different. It was mainly related to the arcing contacts, but here we will only talk about the main contacts, because here you can see, let me have first have my pointer here. Yeah, so this is the incoming flange and this is the outgoing flange. So as you know that each of these flanges are having a set of main contacts and the arcing contacts. So here we are having the main moving contact and main arcing contact here. This is the main moving contact, and in the outgoing flange it is same like the fixed main contact and the fixed arcing contacts here. Now generally what happens that while we are doing the DCRM, it was in the circuit breaker was in close open condition, but here the difference is that the circuit breaker will be in fully closed condition. So while you are doing the CRM, the circuit breaker is kept in closed condition. Now you know that the main contact is made of the silver or copper materials, which is having a very low resistance, while the arcing contact is having tungsten wolfram materials, which is having a quite high resistance. Now when the breaker is kept closed, so what is happening here, that the main contacts and the arcing contacts are both closed. So what generally happens that when we are injecting the current, we know that current will basically follow the low resistance path. So here the low resistance path is obviously the main contacts. So when all these contacts are closed, so and we are injecting the current, so current will basically go through the main contacts, and we will have a voltage drop here in the main contacts, and we will get the measurement of the main contact resistance. So this is the basic concept, and that's why I have just kept this slide for the understanding. what is contact resistance measurement? We all know that the DC current is passed through the test object. It may be circuit breaker, the test object may be circuit breaker, it may be isolator, it may be bus bar, it may be cable joints, whatever may be the test object. So the DC current will be passed through that test object, and we will sense a millivolt drop across the same, which is measured by the very basic Ohm's law. We know that R equals to V equals to IR. So the resistance will be the voltage drop across the contacts divided by the current which is injected. Now, minimum 100 ampere current needs to be injected in the test object as per the ANSI 37.09, which is nothing but the American standard or American guidelines, utility guidelines, and we are also having the IEC 62271-100. Now, as you know that the circuit contact resistance measurement is a very old measurement. That means it was basically started in just before 1980s to actually assess the condition of the contacts inside the contact assembly. So it is a very old test. Previously, we were following the IEC 60694 guideline, which is actually superseded by, I think it is in 2012 or 13. It was superseded by IEC 62271-100. So what IEC 62271-100 says that minimum 100 ampere current needs to be injected across the test object. And with the help of Kelvin's 4-wire measurement method, we are just calculating the resistance. So as we all know that the 4-wire resistance method is a very accurate method, none other like the 2-wire method. And here we are also minimizing the lead resistance as well with the help of the 4-wire measurement method. So this is the current injection is happening. You can consider it C plus C minus. So the current is injecting here through this clip, and this is the voltage sensing probe is here also. So this is the current value and this is the voltage value, and we are having the R subject equals to voltmeter indication by the ammeter indication. So it is a very basic measurement. Now you can if you are having the contact resistance measurement kit, or if you want to understand the application of the contact resistance measurements, and these are the applications, these are the, you can say, duties under the tests where you can do this contact resistance measurement. First is the circuit breaker contacts, where you can do the contact resistance measurement. Then you are having the isolator in your substation, where you can do the CRM measurement of the isolator contacts. Also, you are having the bus bar and conductor joints, and last but not the least, we are having the cable joints and the welded joints as well. So this is where you can do the contact resistance measurement. Now, what is the importance of the contact resistance measurement? Now if I am considering, for example, a circuit breaker is there, which is having a numerous number of operations, and it is an old circuit breaker. So generally what happens that if there is a fault in the system and the circuit breaker trips, generally what happens that the fault current after when the fault current passes, which is having a very high magnitude, for example, so generally it leaves a mark in the contact. Now what generally happens that because of the high magnitude fault current, there are two things may happen. One is that because of the high magnitude fault current, you are having there is a heating will happen across the contacts, mainly in the sharp edges of the contacts. Now because of the heating, generally what happens that even after the fault current is the fault is gone, what happens that the circuit breaker will be again kept closed and the rated current will flow through the circuit breaker. But because of the heating happened across the contacts, what happens that, substantially when the rated current flows to the circuit breaker, the heating will continuously happen. So, generally we know that for the healthy circuit breakers, the contact resistance is very low. For example, it is around 40 to 50 micro ohm at least. So, it is a very low resistance, but due to that fault, what generally happens that after this rated current is passing through the circuit breaker, the I square R loss is starting to happen. Now, because of the heating effect, generally what happens that there are two things may happen. One is that because of the heating effect, the carbon deposition will start to form in the contacts. Now, when the carbon deposition will start to form, generally what happens that the effective resistance of the contact is getting increased. So whenever the effective resistance is getting increased, so further, when again the rated current is continuously flowing, because of the cascading heating effect, the I square R loss is continuously increasing. So it is like more of a cascading effect. Now, once the heating effect is starting, this cascading effect starts. And because of that, the contact resistance is continuously, it is becoming gradual, it is coming high. And because of that, generally what happens that when you will do the contact resistance measurement test, you will see that the R value is coming quite high. If you are neglecting this particular high resistance value, then ultimately it leads to an electrical failure. So that we need to take care. Also, one thing will happen that, if you are having an excessively high fault current magnitude you are observing, then generally what happens that the metallic the metals are there in the contacts, and due to the excessive heat, you will observe that the metallic vapors are forming. Now, when the metallic vapors are forming inside the contacts, generally what happens after many years, due to the natural oxidation process, a layer sort of a thing will form across the contacts. Now, because of this particular metallic vapor layer, the resistance, the contact resistance is getting excessive. It is becoming very high. So these are the two things that may happen in the contacts, inside the contact assembly of the circuit breakers or the contacts. Now, because of this, what generally happens, just I'll explain here. Suppose a current is passing through a cross-sectional area A, which is having the resistance R. So the energy or the heat, which is creating, is I square RT, where T is the time duration and I is the magnitude of current. Now, the resistance is directly proportional to E. You can see, the less the value, the less the energy. But whenever the resistance is increasing, the heating effect is increasing, considering I and T are constant. Also, the temperature rise. Now, before, when the R value was very less, so there was no rise of temperature. Now, because of the heating effect, the temperature will rise, and the temperature rise will also proportional to the heating, that is the energy. As T proportional to E, and the energy will get converted to heat ultimately. Hence, the increased R will result more losses and more temperature rise, resulting degradation, and finally, it leads to an electrical failure. We also call it, it as the masking effect of the contact resistance. So this is the importance of the contact resistance measurement. That's why you need to frequently do the contact resistance measurement, just to know the value of your main contact resistance. What is the importance of our instrument? If with the help of our instrument, you can easily detect the loose connections. You can easily detect the adequate tensions on the bolted joints. You can detect the eroded contact surfaces and also the contaminated or the corroded contacts. So these are the importances of our instrument. Now we are having, several models of the CRM. We are having the very basic CRM 100 and CRM 200. So 100 and 200, the basic difference is one is injecting 100 ampere current and the other is injecting 200 ampere current. This is a very basic model. It is having no inbuilt rechargeable battery. It is only operating through the main supply. Then we have invented the CRM 100B and 200B, which is equipped with the inbuilt rechargeable battery. And then we are also having the CRM 100C model. Now the difference between these four models and CRM 100C is that these all are injecting the pulsating DC current. But here the 100C, CRM 100C, we can inject 100 ampere continuous current. Okay. Next, we are having the CRM 100B plus and CRM 200B plus. So this is the upgraded version of CRM 100 and 200B. Now, these five models, 100, 200, 100B, 200B, and 100C, are looking like this. It is there in the aluminium case, and here you can see the plus series, 100B plus and 200B plus. It is more compatible and more good looking. Now, if I am considering the features of the CRM series, so it is very lightweight models. Though the older versions were having almost around 7, 8, or 9 kg weight, but the Plus series is having very less weight, almost around 4 kg or 5 kg. So that we will come while we will discuss this in the specification. So having the ultra lightweight version of the CRM series, it is very compact, it is rugged, it is having the menu guided operation, so it is very user friendly. It can directly display the micro ohm values. So you are injecting the current, you can see the current and the voltage drop, it will automatically measure and directly it will display the micro ohm values. So the B series, that is the 100B, 200B, 100B plus and 200B plus. So in these four models, we are having the rechargeable battery. Now, previously in the older models like 100, 200, 100C and 100B and 200B, in these five models, we are having the manual ranging facility. But in the Plus series, that is the 100B plus and 200B plus models, we are also included the auto ranging facility. So where you don't need to manually select the resistance range. We are having the real-time clock here. So whenever you are doing the measurement, the date and time will automatically will update as per the IST. We are also giving the IP67 closure in the Plus series models, which is CRM 100B plus and 200B plus. So it is more rugged and more sturdy. We are having the separate software for this Plus series also. So where you can connect our instrument to PC or laptop, whichever you are having, and through that PC or laptop, you can also do the operation. So for that, we are having the separate and dedicated software for the CRM. In the Plus series, we are also having this duty library upload option. The duty library upload is a very important feature, considering that whenever you are doing a test in a substation, for example, in a certain bay, in a certain phase of that particular circuit breaker, so you can upload all these details to our instrument, and you can this particular information will be saved in our instrument. So next time whenever you are conducting the same test in the same circuit breaker, you don't need to give the inputs again. It will be automatically saved. So just you need to enable that option, and you will have that particular details, and you can directly move on to the test. So this is the importance of the DUT library upload. And all the models are actually reliable up to 765 kV. In the Plus series, we are having the inbuilt memory option. So 1000 data you can store inside our instrument, with 100 data IDs you can create. Also in the Plus series, we are having the inbuilt thermal printer option is there. So after you are getting the result, so you can instantly receive the result with the help of this thermal printer. Now, if I'm coming into the specifications, so here you can see I have given all the models starting from the basic ones to the updated Plus series ones. So the 100 and 200, the basic difference is the current injection, that is the 100 and 200 ampere. So previously the resistance range was 199 micro ohm, but here we have updated up to 19.99 up to 20 milliohm. The resolution is 0.1 micro ohm, so it is very accurate and the resolution is very good. The accuracy is also plus minus 2%. We are giving the 3.5 digit LCD display, backlit LCD display in all these models. So previously in the older versions, you can see it was only the standalone. It was only the standalone version was there. In the Plus series, we have updated it standalone and PC control. So you can do the operation via PC also by connecting your PC to our instrument. And other than that, the batteries we are giving in the B series models, we have started to give it. And in the B Plus also, we are having this battery as well. In the older versions, we are not having the memory, but in the Plus series, we have started to given the inbuilt memory as well. Also in the Plus series, we have given the thermal printer, what I have said in the features. So now the main difference you can see in the specification, that previously the weight was almost 7-8. Then after including the battery, the weight is here 9. And for the 200B model, but the 200 ampere current injection model, we are having up to 10 kg. But in the Plus series, we have it is a very compact model, and just see the weight. That's why I have told that it is a ultra lightweight model we are having. Only the 100B Plus model we are having up to 4 kg weight, and for the 200B Plus model, it is a very ultra lightweight 5 kg model we are having. So this is the major difference we have done in the Plus series, along with the other features which we have included, like the memory and thermal printer. Now, I'll just briefly, explain that how to do the test with the help of our contact resistance measurement unit. So this is very much our, CRM unit. This is the Plus series unit, you can see. So this is the C plus and C minus. That is the current injection models we are having. So based on the 100B plus or the 200B plus, you will get the test current 100 or 200. This is the voltage measurement channel through which the voltage drop we will catch. So this is the V plus and V minus, and this is the So the current is injecting across these cables, and the voltage measurement is also done by this channel. Now here we are having this the 3.5 or 4.5 digit display based on the models you will select, and this is how you will do the this is the menu is there. We are having the 5-key keypad through which the menu guide operation is available, so you can easily do the operation by selecting the keys. For overloading purpose, we are having a 1 5 ampere fuses here. This is the USB port through which you can connect it to our to your PC or laptop. And this is the thermal printer I was talking about, that after getting the result you can print out the result instantaneously. And this is the master earthing. This is the first and foremost connection you need to have while you are doing the measurement. So for that we are having this master earthing connection. So this is the brief about our instrument, and this is how we will do the connection. And as you can see, the connection is very easy, short and sweet. And as we are also having this auto ranging facility in the Plus series, so basically you don't need to do anything. You just need to push the test button, and automatically we are also having the auto ranging resistance feature, so the result will come automatically. There are some do's and don'ts I need, I'll just highlight, that is just for your reference. So while you are doing the testing, that you need to make firm earthing connection. Ensure that the firm connection of earthing at instrument end also. Connection of the earthing should be made before making any other connections. You need to verify the earthing of duty from both the sides, wherever it whether it is the circuit breaker or isolator or anything. You need to just ensure the earthing of that particular DUT before the you are making the connection. Ensure the earthing to instrument. Always make the firm connections. Do not make any loose connections or do not keep any connection open. Use the proper rating of fuses. Ensure that the test lead sets conditions are good, and just avoid this particular instrument in dusty environments, because if the dusts are there in the test lead set, then it will be what you are getting will be an inaccurate value. So if you are having this instrument in the highly dusty environment, just make sure that you clean that test lead set while doing the measurement. So that you need to just ensure. There are some don'ts also. So only 2 don'ts. I'll just say that don't use the other test lead set, make test lead set or other model of test lead set. For example, if you are having both the 100 ampere and 200 ampere models in your substation, so don't use the 100 ampere test lead set into the 200 ampere or 200 ampere test lead set into the 100 ampere. And also don't use the charger of the other makes, or other than we are saying so, don't use the other make chargers. Until what we are supplying, you need to use that charger. Now there are some limits of the CRM values, which is a very important thing you need to just understand, that we are following several guidelines, and with the help of those IEC or IEEE guidelines, what they are saying that if you are getting the CRM value which is less than or equal to 100 microohm, then your circuit breaker contacts are very healthy, or you can say it is healthy. But if you are getting greater than the 100 microohm, then you need to do the close monitoring. Now here comes one point where I have said that one feature our instrument was having, that is the trend analysis. Now the trend analysis is a very important point while you are doing the measurement of your CRM. What it generally gives that if, for example, if your circuit breaker is having a greater than 100 micro ohm, then you need to do the close monitoring. So there comes your trend analysis thing. So for example, today I have done one CRM measurement and I have found some value. For example, it is 105 micro ohm value, which is as per the guidelines, you need to do the close monitoring of the circuit breaker. And after 6 months, the value is gradually increasing. And again, after 6 months, that means after 1 year, you have taken 2 measurements. And with the help of these 3 measurements, actually, you will do the trend analysis and you can understand that how your contact resistance is actually gradually it is increasing. So with the help of trend analysis also, you can take the decision that whether you need to take the circuit breaker out of, you need to do the maintenance of that particular circuit breaker, or you can I'll say that it is fine, no problem, you can do the operation as well. So you can be online, no problem, in the substation. So that is the most important thing in our trend analysis. So with the help of these values, you can understand the importance of the trend analysis. Now, if it is the CRM value is greater than 150 micro ohm, then you can always taken it out for the maintenance. Or maybe you will have a different guidelines as per your own substation, or also sometimes the OEM of the circuit breaker is also giving some guidelines, so you can follow that particular guideline as well. So this is the limit of the CRM values. Also, there is a common question comes from the utilities, that what should be the value of the current while we are doing the contact resistance measurement. Now, I'll say that the low current. So if you are following any guidelines, they are always talking about more than 50 ampere. That is, either 100 ampere or 200 ampere. So you need to do the contact resistance measurement in the 100 ampere, 200 ampere in the current injection test models. But below that, one problem is that you will not get the accuracy. So there are different makes and models of different companies, like will also be having the 10 ampere models, 5 ampere models, 1 ampere even CRM models I have seen, but the accuracy of those instruments are quite low. And all these utilities, what their observation or the guidelines, what they are making, the IEC and the IEEE, they have always mentioned that the current injection will be, you need to at least have the 100 ampere. So below that, we as an OEM will not suggest, and we will suggest that 100 ampere and 200 ampere is sufficient enough. And also you don't want your circuit breaker to be having excessive electrical stress by injecting a very high DC current, because that the rated current of the circuit breaker is very high, but that rated current is an AC current. But here you are injecting the DC current while doing the contact resistance measurement. So with 100 ampere and 200 ampere current magnitude is current injection models are good enough to do the contact resistance measurement. And also the different guidelines like the IEC and CGRE all are telling like that only. And also if you follow the several guidelines of the OEMs, they are also suggesting that particular thing as well. So this is the most two important questions regarding the CRM. That one is the current injection and one is the limits of the CRM values, which I have discussed. And this is this presentation is actually over from my end, because other than that there is nothing to discuss. But I'm expecting some questions from your end. Just before that, I just need to tell you that regarding if you are having any product or sales related you need any information, then you can contact marketing@scopetnm.com. Regarding any after sales related information, you can always mail us to service@scopetnm.com. Regarding any technical queries you are having regarding, technical queries not related to only instrument, but also if you are having any queries related to circuit breaker, even related to transformer or anything, you can mail us at ps@scopetnm.com, and our homepage is www.scopetnm.com, so you can visit and see whatever solutions we are giving. So this is from my end, and thank you for the presentation. So I'll just go through some questions. I'll just let me see.
Thank you, Aritra. You can explain a little bit about the 4-wire measurement, Kelvin's 4-wire measurement principle. Might not be something readily available, but you can explain it over there's a thing. As there was a question that if you can explain why 4-wire measurement or what it is.
Okay. So generally, I think let me check who has asked these questions. Okay, so Mr. Muhashbir Hasmi has asked this question. Just can you explain the Kelvin 4-wire method a little bit? So, sir, the main thing is that the Kelvin's 4-wire method is generally applicable for the low resistance whenever we are doing the measurement of the low resistance, because what we are having there, that in the 2-wire method we can also do the measurement, but what is the problem in the 2-wire measurement is that the lead resistance is it will come into the measurement. So the lead resistance we need to minimize, then we need to have the 4-wire method. So whenever we are doing the 4-wire method, that means we are having two probes of current and two probes of voltage. So automatically all these probes are in parallel. So the lead resistance effect is automatically getting minimized with the help of 4-wire method. But whenever you are using the 2-wire method, the lead resistance will automatically come in the measurement, which is nothing but the inaccuracy. So with the help of 4-wire method, you can minimize this particular lead resistance problem. So this is the 4-wire method where you are having two current probes and two voltage probes, and whatever the current is injecting, and to the voltage probes we are doing, we are just we are doing the measurement of the voltage drop. So with V by I equals to R, calculating the resistance with the Kelvin's 4-wire method.
Yeah. So basic thing of Kelvin's bridge, what we have learned during our college days, this is the extension. This CRM product has been developed based on that basic principle only, sir. So that bridge balancing is done automatically with the electronic help of electronics, and 4-wire, as Aritra has explained, that is for nullifying the we do not have to do the lead resistance compensation, will not be required if we are using the 4-wire method. So that's the basic reason of using 4-wire method. Then there was a question from Mr. Mirja Beg. 2-wire that connects two individual side, what will be the distance? So, sir, we are having various options of test-lead set. By default, we are generally giving 15 meter of test-lead set. So the distance of the measurement object will be around 15 meters away from the instrument, that is possible. But on special request, we can there are the optional things available, like 20 meter test-lead sets are also available. So these are the two available options. So generally, and let's say for GIS application, you require the bifurcation much bigger. So for GIS application, if you are going for the GIS application at the time of ordering, if you are informing us the same, we will be giving the bifurcation, which will be with which you will be easily able to conduct the testing on GIS, so that you can connect both the ends of the GIS easily.
Yes, exactly, sir.
Then there were one more question from Mr. Hasmi, which I have committed that we will be taking it during the question answer session. Hasmi sir, you have mentioned, can you tell that what should be the correct value of CRM 100? Now, before asking this or answering this, I would like to ask you some question like, what is the test object you are testing? Because CRM 100 is not the correct value. It is a measurement instrument. It is not a standard that it is going to give you the output of 100 millivolt or something like that. It is not a generator. It is a measurement tool. So whatever the object you are going to measure, the value of that one has to be correlated. So measurement value, whatever CRM 100 has got, that has to be correlated with the ideal value of that test object. The test object could be breaker, bus joint, breaker joints, or bus joint, or cable joint, overhead line joints. These sort of joint, any type of joints or something like that. Where we are having the we are expecting a micro ohmic value. Now, for example, if I am going for a 400 kV SF6 type of circuit breaker, then as per our experience, the ideal value is coming around 40 to 50 micro ohm. But if we are going for a something else, let's say busbar, the value will not be 40 or 50 micro ohm. It will be somewhere else. So the question of CRM 100 ideal value, you need to refer the OEM's guidelines, respective OEM of the breaker or busbar or whatever the other object you are testing. You have to refer the test report of that OEM, the test report of that specific breaker. There you will be getting the ideal value, what is expected. Based on that, you can correlate whether your contacts are in good condition or it requires some maintenance. So hope I could clear you that we cannot say anything what should be the correct value of CRM 100. The correct value can be, you have to correlate whatever you are having. So we are the instrument manufacturer, and the OEM or the elements manufacturer like transformer or breaker or these things, they always are giving the test reports. In the test reports, they are giving the ideal value as well as the acceptable limits. So you have to refer the OEM's test report and their guidelines for referring this answer. Or if you want to add something.
No, yes, exactly. That's what I have said in the presentation also, that the OEM, you can always suggest the OEM's value, because they are the best person who can suggest this limits of the CRM values.
Mr. Ravichandran has asked how to read DCRM graph. So, sir, we can explain right now, but it will not be good, because today we have here to discuss the CRM. So the other part of DCRM, that how to do that analysis on DCRM graph, you can contact us in ps@scopetnm.com. So we can explain you, we can set up a time for you, or in a separate time we can do that. Mr.
Yes.
Santosh Wagade has asked why currently it is inside or closer to the clamp while CRM test then voltage lead, what will happen if we connect current lead outside? Yes, sir, very, very basic question. And it is a very, I will say, do's and don'ts kind of thing. So when connecting to the circuit, so it is just a basic, very basic thing. Let's say, let me try to explain it in a different manner. Let's say I am having this breaker. This is the breaker contact, and here I am connecting the these are my current injection points, let's say. Now when the breaker is closed, so what will happen? The current will flow through this thing from let's say this point A. This is, let's say, point A and point B. So in between point A and T, there will be a current flow. Now when the current is flowing, and now I want to measure the contact resistance of that breaker contact. That breaker contact means I will be interested in this zone. Sorry. I will be interested into this zone where I will be getting the breaker contact resistance. Now to get the contact resistance, because I know from A to T how much current is flowing. Once I know the current, to measure the resistance, I have to measure what is the voltage drop across that contact. So when to measure that one, I require the voltage drop to be measured. Now voltage drop should be taken inside the point A and point T, not outside the point. The reason is that the flow of current is happening inside this one, and if I am putting the voltage lead somewhere, let's say outside the point A, somewhere here in this zone or in this zone, so what will happen? The potential difference actual, I will not be getting the ideal value. Whereas if I take the points inside, I will be getting the ideal values. So ideally I should take the voltage from in between these 2 points. So in between A and T point, not outside. Means I should take the voltage always from the blue dots, not from the green dots, because that voltage drop I will not be getting exact values in the green dots. But when I will be taking the blue dots, so it is in the current loop, so path, inside the path. So in the current path only I should pick up the voltage, not the outside the path of the flow of current. So that's the reason it should be taken always from inside. Otherwise there could be a lot of inaccuracy problem in the measurement, and the measurement might not be correct. That's the reason we are always connecting the current lead outside and voltage lead inside. Hope I could clear you, sir. Aditya, anything else you want to add?
Yes, that is exactly, sir. You have beautifully explained this I think it is very much understandable.
So there's one more question, sir. What will be the value of resistance for bus bar in if number of joints is increasing as well as number of run increase?
I think
I think this is similar to that the question which we have taken earlier. The best person is to answer that the bus bar manufacturer.
yes, exactly.
However, as a standard rule of thumb, we can say that resistance for bus bar, if number of joint is increasing, then the resistance value of the bus bar will increase. And the moment if it is a parallel run, number of increasing as well as number of run, I could not understand your second part of the question, as well as number of run increase your, so it appears to be somehow incomplete. So I am not speculating anything, so I am skipping that part of the second part, or you can type once again, Rohit sir. There was one question from Mr. Ravish Kumar. May I get answer regarding testing of two-pole 765 kV circuit breaker testing connection? Sir, we could not get your question properly. So connection means 765 kV. That drawing which I have made, it will be similar to that one only. So the breaker contact will be inside. Outside there will be there. Arithro, if you are having some picture of a 400 kV or breaker, if you can show it to us, that will be better.
Just
Ready-made, if something is available, you can open out, so we can explain the same. Just a second, sir. Till that time, let me try to answer some other questions. No other questions. So I can tell you, sir, Ravish sir, it is the both the incoming and outgoing flange of the breaker. You should keep our plus the two CK clamps which we are using, or else Arithro, if you can take to the earlier slide connection diagram, there we can explain.
Yeah, just
slide number 12. So the incoming and outgoing flange, you will be connecting the two CK clamps, and in between, yeah, so make it full screen.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. This CK clamp, as you can see over here, this is the CK clamp, whatever we are using, this one and this one. So here, the similar way you can think, these are the two ends of the flange. However, the breaker connection for 400 kV, it will be a bit different. A bit different means the construction wise, but connection wise it will be same. So at the two end of the two flanges, you will be keeping the C plus and C minus terminal, and you are through. So that with that respect, you can get the total breaker, both the contacts put together, you will be getting the resistance, series resistance. But if you are interested into par interrupter resistance, then it will be just like that. Okay, you have to connect the C plus or C minus, any one at the center, and outside you will be keeping the other terminal. So if you have kept the C plus into the center, then C minus will be going into the outside flange. So you can get the resistance of 765 kV, one interrupter resistance.
Yes, exactly.
So if there is any other question, we can.
Okay, I think we are almost done here. So there are upcoming webinars coming from our end also. I think there is a webinar in 30th January where the topic of the webinar is primary cum secondary testing with RATOM 21. That RATOM 21 is the multifunction type of instrument. So that will be described in the presentation. So do not forget to register into that webinar. And also, I think the upcoming webinar of our customer service group is in 5th February. That topic is related to the insulation resistance, earth resistance, and tower footing resistance measurement. So you can register those webinars to understand these several topics. So okay, I think sir, we can close this.
Yeah. So it seems there is no other question. So thanks for your presence. And if you are having any more questions, you can contact us over the email provided, and please fill up the feedback form.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for your